Hey guys, after a weekend of travel, I just got home and I realized that, I have my metamaterial video made, but then I haven't edited it. So I will just try to do it tomorrow morning. Hopefully I will finish all of the editing, and I think I need to add some stuff because a lot of people, I'm one of the first YouTubers online that, started to spreading FUD or whatever about MMAT. And I had a lot of, along the journey, I figured there are actually a lot more than what you guys are exposed to. Sorry about this is actually a piano practice that I did, and I was listening to it, and then I would just send it to my teacher. But anyways, on Patreon, we had a lot of those information that are not put out yet that, highlighted some of the really bad financial assumptions and some of the really bad sort of indications of internal control issues with metamaterial, and a lot of foreseeable financial sort of reporting failure, disclosure failures, and all this kind of stuff. And on Patreon and even in main chat of my Discord, or just even on a lot of my old videos, I talk a lot about, I honestly don't think the CFO is competent. I don't think they can, file reportings on time, or being able to properly disclose a lot of stuff. And a lot of you were hating on me beforehand when, we started the channel, and when we started to talk about this openly in the public. But then now, a lot of YouTubers, I think their portfolio already evaporated about like 80 to 90%. And I mean, they're still proudly holding, and I admire that. I truly admire that. But at the same time, maybe it's time to get a punch and shot of reality, and maybe look at it, realistically speaking, how far it can go down, or if it still have 100 million shares shelved somewhere, on which we probably brought it up about 3 months ago or 4 months ago, and saying, hey, that 100 million is missing, that you should disclose this. If you don't disclose this, at least, in some ways let us know. Even though according to the SEC rules for NASDAQ reporting, you have to report that. And then in their, fourth quarter, third quarter, and second quarter reportings, they didn't even say anything about shelving all these shares that are actually in the facility, that are just waited to be sold. Therefore, there are potential huge dilution coming in. And if you guys want an example, you can go look at an AEI, and you can look at CEI with all of these offerings. Because one of the realities that you guys have to understand is that for growth companies, they obviously needs a lot of money to grow. And because depending on the industry, and depending on what their base growth rate is at, and depending on what's the per capita growth requirement for these growth companies to grow, they need to spend way more money than mature companies to sort of reach their growth expansion. Because what Wall Street is really looking for is, I want to see growth, but I want to see growth beyond expectations. And then for companies like MMAT, who operates in a very niche market, and especially they sort of lost their ways during this year of all these hypes, they haven't got a specific targeted market that are addressable, first of all. And second of all, they haven't done enough market research, or haven't done enough market realization or channeling work to really push their product out there. So we'll continue to see a lot of drawbacks. We'll continue to see a lot of R&D expenses become sunk costs, and I obviously think that their executives are really overpaid. And at the same time, I believe that they have a huge internal control issues with how their revenues are recognized, and how all of these contracts are basically materialized over time. So I'll show you guys in a more detailed videos. I know a lot of my videos are really hard to understand, because the way how I do math, and I don't tend to move slower than other YouTubers. A lot of YouTubers tend to put out really simple to understand concepts. Sorry. and they sort of just like put it out there and tell you, you know, the simply speaking and that. I kind of just like go through the math, and a lot of times those math are a little bit hard to follow. So what I ask for you guys to do is, you know, help me, you know, better my videos, sort of like, you know, highlight what you guys don't understand, or what you guys understand well, and ask more questions so I can explain it more. Because a lot of the things that, you know, Sterling's and whatever everybody is just realized in the MMAT community, we've already realized that month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Even like the first quote unquote FUD videos are coming out, and a lot of those contents are on Patreon, and a lot of those like condensed contents are already on YouTube. Like if you go on Discord, I would, you know, we've been telling the truth the entire time, and instead of having support from the community, we get a huge amount of backlashes. So I just think it's good to do us justice right now, and we will post some of those informations and sort of give you guys a clear outline or clear views of what is really going on. And, you know, obviously a lot of my believers and supporters, they're already exited like earlier than you guys. So, I mean, potentially they just, you know, they won't lose as much money. And our true price target for MMAT is actually, you know, it's not really looking that well considered on how it's really going. And from the earning calls, there are a lot of red flags that you guys should be looking out for. And for all of you who are new investors and just looking into doing due diligence on this company, again, we're not financial advisors, we do not give financial advices, but just in terms of how fundamentals and how hypes are considering, you might be, if you invest right now, you might be looking at 90 days to 150 days. There's stagnant movement, and you might be looking at about 2 or 3 years of stuck in this stock, where you can actually invest in something else that would have better return or would yield you a significantly less loss. And another sort of word of caution or line of caution, the sentence of caution, to all of you who are watching. I know you only probably have like 100 or 200 of you are watching anyways, compared to other channels where there are like thousands of people watching. Is remember, when a lot of YouTubers caught up on something, that means like that commodity or that stock train is gonna go through an accelerator rate of either return or loss. So right now, a lot of these YouTubers are caught up on oil and oil futures and a lot of those oil stocks and all those things. Like when nobody's talking about WTI and Brent and crude oil, we've been longing oil ever since March 2021 and all the way until now. And then now we have a clear price target of where oil is going to go. And when it reaches that target, we're just going to exit and we're just never going to look back. And for those of you who just getting into oil, this might actually not be a really good short-term volatile trade to get into, consider the huge amount of risk, because a lot of more, I wouldn't say mediocre YouTubers, but less observant YouTubers started to falling on the trends. Then you guys, you know, if you guys don't enter and exit properly, you might be back holding these very high volatile oil stocks and just oil futures or whatever contract you're trading, and those are going to be catastrophic, because, you know, trading commodities is not for beginners per se at first. Okay. And here it is. This is the video. And shout out to Kate Finance, because one of my YouTube subscribers said that your video is really helpful, and, you know, I watch it and I really think you had the format of video is great, and I hope I can be as concise and as pithy as you are. But I guess my mind is just a little bit too messy. But again, shout out to you, and good job on your video. And I know, you know, that video is just like a simple, you know, explanation of the earnings, but you did a really great job explaining very simple things. And I think, you know, it's sort of like pass the torch on me, and I will explain a little bit in depth regarding some of the questions that you raised in that video. And I will show some detailed math regarding, you know, what exactly does bad internal control do to a stock price, with maybe some examples. But I've been super busy with my regular work and promotions and product expansions and all this kind of stuff. And hopefully I will have more time to make videos. Otherwise, I will hopefully post daily videos like this one and sort of just, talk about it. You guys can listen to this as a podcast or whatever you see fit with this. All right, see you guys on the upside. And hopefully tomorrow morning before pre-market, this video will be posted. And hopefully in the middle of the market, I will post some more either oil related content or stock related content or MMAT earning reaction video. I mean, it's not really a surprise. It's a surprise for a lot of you, but it's not a surprise for majority of my Patreon members and majority of my Discord members, because I've been stressing, about MMA TLP and MMAT a lot for the past 3 months, that it's volatile, it's dangerous, it's really risky. Generally, just don't do it. All right, see you guys on the upside.